Everyone's getting something small, my mother said. On Christmas morning, she gave my sister's 12-year-old twins new phones, $600 each, and handed my 8-year-old son, Ethan, socks. I'm Morgan, 35. In that living room, my family ranked us without saying a word, my mother smiling, my sister pleased, my dad behind a newspaper. Paper tore. The fridge hummed. Snow ticked against the window. Ethan's breath hitched. "Thank you, Grandma," he said, small and careful. I kept my face steady, the habit of a lifetime, but a different part of me finally moved, because my quiet leverage was already in place, the family health insurance I've paid for 3 years, every premium, every receipt, on a portal that read, "Changes allowed until Deck 31, 11:59 p.m. If that lands, tell me in the comments, what small gift in your family revealed the bigger truth? I'll read every story. The ride home that night felt heavier than snow. Ethan sat in the back seat, holding the socks on his lap like he was afraid to drop them. Streetlights flickered across his face. Bright, then shadow, bright again. "Mom," he finally whispered, "did I do something wrong?" I gripped the steering wheel. "No, sweetheart, you didn't do anything wrong." "Then why did Grandma give me socks and Sophie and Sam get phones?" I lied the way mothers do when the truth would break something too fragile. "Because Grandma thought you needed warm feet." He nodded, but his eyes turned toward the window and stayed there. That night, after he fell asleep, I sat at the kitchen table staring at the bills spread across the surface. Mortgage, utilities, insurance, my insurance. 6 people on my plan. Me, Ethan, my parents, my sister, and her husband. $823.40 pulled from my paycheck every month. I never complained. When Dad's company dropped their coverage, I added them. When Kelsey said Todd lost his job, I added them too. Because that's what family does, right? Except family didn't protect Ethan when it counted. Family didn't keep promises about fairness. Family watched an 8-year-old open socks and called it practical. The next morning, Mom called, all sugar. "Just checking that our insurance is still good for next year." "It is," I said, staring at the coffee swirling in my mug. "Thank you, honey. You're so good to us." Her voice was smooth, rehearsed, like she'd said it 100 times to get a result. After the call, I looked at the socks folded neatly on Ethan's dresser. He'd put them there like they were something precious. Maybe they were. A quiet reminder. The proof that even the kindest child can see when love isn't equal. I thought about every Christmas before this one. Every, "You're so responsible, Morgan." Every, "You understand, right?" And suddenly, I did understand. My family didn't just take my generosity for granted. They expected it. They built comfort on my silence. And this year, that silence was starting to crack. Outside, the first flakes of December snow began to fall again, soft and relentless, covering everything that wasn't nailed down. By mid-December, Milwaukee turned to glass, streets iced, branches heavy, everything brittle. I buried myself in work. Year-end reports, shipments, staff issues. Routine was easier than resentment. Ethan, though, kept talking about Christmas. He wanted everyone to be together. "Grandma said it'll be simple this year," he reminded me, hanging the small felt ornament he'd made in art class. "Just something small." I nodded, pretending that word didn't sting anymore. A week later, Mom called again, this time about insurance paperwork. Her voice was casual, but I could hear the calculation behind it. "Just making sure we're all set for next year, dear." "We're all set," I said. "Wonderful," she said, cheerful like she'd earned something. That weekend, I drove over to drop off the renewal forms she needed to sign. Kelsey was already there, her twins sprawled across the couch, shouting at a video game. My mother beamed when she saw me. "Perfect timing," she said. "I was just showing Kelsey the gifts for the kids." In her bedroom, 3 boxes sat neatly on the bed. 2 were large and wrapped in silver foil. 1 was small, flat, and wrapped in discount store paper. "These 2 are for Sophie and Sam," she said, touching the shiny boxes like they might glow. "And that one's for Ethan." I looked at the small package, my stomach tightening. "You said everyone's getting something small." She smiled. "These are small, practical." "What are they?" "Phones. The twins need new ones for school." I laughed before I could stop myself. "They're 12, Mom." Kelsey appeared in the doorway, arms crossed. "Teenagers need phones, Morgan. You wouldn't understand. Ethan's still a kid." I looked at the small flat box again. And for Ethan? Socks, my mother said too brightly. Good wool ones. They're expensive. The room hummed. My pulse, the heating vent, her voice, all at once. Socks, I repeated. Don't make that face, Kelsey said. Mom's on a fixed income. I glanced at the shining wrap, the silver bows, the price tags hiding under perfection. Those phones cost more than my car payment. Kelsey shrugged. We chipped in. Of course they did. With whose money, I wondered. I left the house before I said something I couldn't take back. The cold slapped me the moment I stepped outside. The sky hung low and gray, ready to split. At home, Ethan was sitting at his desk, drawing. Look, Mom, he said, holding up a portrait. Our family smiling, drawn in colored pencil. Even Grandma was in it. It's for her, for Christmas. I nodded, my throat tight. She'll love it, I lied. That night, after he went to bed, I sat staring at my laptop screen. The insurance portal blinked open. 6 people on the plan. Monthly premium, $823.40. Renewal deadline, December 31st, 11:59 p.m. My finger hovered over the edit button. Then I closed the tab. Not yet. Some choices need to marinate in silence before they take shape. Outside, the wind moved through the snowdrifts like a whisper. Small gifts. Small gifts. And for the first time in years, I wasn't sure I still believed in them. Christmas morning arrived under a clean blanket of snow. The city was quiet, as if holding its breath. Ethan woke me early, his hair sticking up in every direction. "Merry Christmas, Mom," he said, already grinning. We opened our presents in our living room first, just the two of us. I'd bought him new art supplies, books, and a winter coat. Practical, but still chosen with care. He handed me a coffee mug painted with shaky letters, "World's Best Mom." I held it like glass. "I love it, honey." He smiled, proud. "Do you think Grandma will like her gift?" "She'll love it," I said, though my stomach tightened at the word Grandma. By noon, we were dressed and driving through snow-lined streets toward my parents' house. Ethan hummed Christmas songs, clutching his wrapped drawing. I kept my hands steady on the wheel. The house smelled of ham and cinnamon candles when we walked in. Kelsey's twins were already showing off new clothes. My mom swept in with her usual smile. "Merry Christmas," she chirped, hugging the twins tight before giving Ethan a distracted pat on the shoulder. I watched him put his small package under the tree. The tag read, "To Grandma, love Ethan." His handwriting was careful, hopeful. Lunch was chaos. My dad carved ham, Kelsey bragged about the twins' sports teams, and my mom fussed endlessly. Ethan tried to speak up twice, both times talked over by Sophie or Sam. He fell silent after that. When the plates cleared, my mother clapped her hands. "Time for presents." The twins' boxes were first, of course. She handed them over like awards. "These are special," she said. Wrapping paper flew, squeals followed. The phones gleamed under the tree lights. "Oh, Mom, you shouldn't have," Kelsey said, but her tone was pure satisfaction. Then came the small, flat package. "And this one's for Ethan," Mom said. He opened it slowly. The room went quiet, except for the sound of torn paper. 3 pairs of gray wool socks. His small hands gripped the box. His voice, when it came, was steady but soft. "Thank you, Grandma." Kelsey laughed. "Not even an excited thank you?" "He said thank you," I said. "Well, he could sound more grateful," my mother added. "Those weren't cheap." The air thinned. Ethan leaned close and whispered, "Did I do something wrong?" That question shattered something inside me, a soundless break that didn't heal. We stayed another hour, because leaving right then would have been a scene. My mother barely looked at the portrait Ethan gave her. She set it aside to make room for wrapping paper. It slid halfway under a stack of mail. Ethan saw. He didn't cry, just folded inward. That night, after he'd gone to bed, I opened my laptop. The insurance portal blinked like an invitation. 6 names, my parents, my sister, her husband, all writing my plan. Deadline, December 31st, 11:59 p.m. My hand hovered, then clicked Eat It members. Not yet, I thought, but soon, very soon. The day after Christmas felt too bright for what had happened. The sun bounced off the snow in blinding sheets, as if pretending the world had always been pure. Ethan was still asleep when I sat down at the kitchen table, coffee steaming beside my laptop. The insurance portal glowed in front of me. That same screen I'd seen 100 times before. Family plan, 6 members, monthly premium, $823.42. Renewal deadline, December 31st, 11:59 p.m. Every name was there, my parents, Kelsey, her husband Todd, Ethan, and me. 6 people carried by one paycheck, mine. For years, I'd told myself it didn't matter, that it was just money, that family helps each other. But the truth was colder than the snow outside. I'd been the family's safety net, not their daughter. A resource, not a person. I closed the laptop. Not yet. The act needed to mean something more than anger. That evening, I took Ethan to his favorite pizza place. He picked the booth by the window and spent most of the meal quietly watching the snow fall. Halfway through, he said softly, "Mom, why doesn't Grandma like me as much as Sophie and Sam?" I froze, the slice halfway to my mouth. "Of course she does," I said automatically. He didn't look convinced. "Sophie said her mom told her Grandma feels sorry for us because you're alone, and that I'm probably harder to deal with because I don't have a dad." The words landed like ice water down my spine. I forced myself to stay calm. "Ethan, none of that is true. You are the best thing in my entire life, and you are never harder to love. Do you understand me?" He nodded, but his small shoulders slumped. "Are we still going to Grandma's house?" I looked at him, this little person who'd learned too early what unfairness feels like. "I don't know," I said finally, "but whatever happens, you and I will be okay. We always are." That night, after he was asleep, I called Jessica, my best friend since college. She listened as I recounted everything, the socks, the phones, the look on Ethan's face. "Phones and socks?" she repeated, disbelieving. "Morgan, that's not a misunderstanding. That's cruelty dressed up as tradition." "I keep wondering if I'm overreacting," I said. "You're not. You're underreacting. You've let them drain you for years. Take care of yourself and that boy. They can figure out their own insurance." Her words lingered long after we hung up. By December 29th, I stopped wondering. At 9:03 p.m., I opened the insurance portal again. The house was silent except for the soft hum of the refrigerator. Outside, snow pressed against the windows, a quiet audience. My finger hovered over the edit button. Remove member, Dad. Remove member, Mom. Remove member, Kelsey. Remove member, Todd. The system blinked a polite question. "Are you sure?" I was. I clicked confirm. A message appeared. "Changes will take effect January 1st. It was done. Just 4 clicks, and 3 decades of imbalance quietly erased. The next morning, my phone buzzed non-stop. Mom, Kelsey, Dad, over and over. I didn't answer. By January 3rd, I picked up. My mother's voice was shrill with panic. "Morgan, our insurance was canceled. You need to fix this." "It's not a mistake," I said evenly. "I ended your coverage." "You can't just abandon your family," she cried. I sipped my coffee. "You abandoned my son when you gave him socks and called it fair." She gasped. "You're doing this over presents?" "No," I said quietly. "I'm doing it over what those presents revealed." And for the first time, my silence didn't protect them. It protected us. January settled in with the kind of quiet that felt earned. The calls kept coming at first. My mother pleading, Kelsey raging, my father trying to sound reasonable. I let them all go to voicemail. By the time the letters from their insurance company arrived, I'd stopped checking my phone altogether. The following week, a certified envelope landed in my mailbox. Notice of legal action. My parents were suing me for financial abandonment. I read the words twice, then laughed. A short, startled sound. They hadn't just lost control, they'd lost the illusion that I'd never fight back. My lawyer, Gregory, was calm. "They don't have a case," he said. "You helped out of kindness, not obligation." And he was right. The court agreed. Case dismissed. When the gavel fell, I didn't feel triumphant, just free. 3 years of paying, decades of performing, gone in a single judgment. That night, Ethan and I stopped for ice cream. He ate his cone with chocolate on his nose, happy and unaware of how much had shifted around him. "You look different, Mom," he said between bites. "Lighter." "Maybe I am," I told him. "Sometimes when you stop carrying what isn't yours, you can finally breathe." Spring came early that year. I got promoted. Ethan's drawings covered the fridge. The house felt full again, not of noise, but of peace. We didn't go to my parents' that Christmas. Instead, we volunteered at a shelter, handed out hot meals, laughed with strangers who felt more like family than the people I was born to. Later that night, Ethan opened his presents: books, new sketch pencils, a small tablet for his art. Nothing extravagant, but chosen with love. He hugged me tight. "This is perfect, Mom." I looked around our small living room, warm light spilling across the tree, and smiled. "Yeah," I said softly, "it finally is." If you've ever learned the hard way that peace costs distance, tell me in the comments how you found yours.